Welcome back to For the Mamas Collective Podcast, a space where we believe in the power of connection and shared experiences.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jaleesa. We're so thrilled to have you back for our 10th episode.
This podcast has been a dream for both of us because, as moms, we know just how much connection, community, and a space to feel seen and heard really matter.
For the Mamas Collective is all about creating that space, a warm, welcoming environment where mothers from all walks of life can come together to share stories, explore the highs and lows, and celebrate the journey of motherhood.
And today, we're diving into a topic that often remains unspoken but is so incredibly real: motherhood and rage.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, the fuel that drives me on a daily basis. Yeah, so, we're getting into the big, messy, uncomfortable feelings of it all. Because while motherhood is full of love and joy, there are also moments of frustration, overwhelm, and absolute rage. And that's something we don't talk about enough, right?
Not nearly enough
Yeah.
at all. But before we get into the deep stuff, let's start with a little rose and thorn check in for the week.
Okay. Well, so if you're new here, our rose is something that brought us joy this week, and our thorn is something that was challenging. Danielle, I got a lot of rage. This week was full of rage, so I'm not gonna come in too hot for these people. So let's start with you.
Okay. So my rose this week, Chase had a Black History performance, and so that was
Aw,
just sweet. Yeah, he did it with his after school program, and we got to go watch him there. He
mhm.
was Booker T.
Washington?
Washington?
Yeah.
No, he was George Washington Carver.
Oh,
I don't know.
nice.
Okay, now I feel bad.
He won 'em.
He was one of the two. But yeah, I got to go see him there, and it was cute. They had like a little dance routine at the end, adorable.
Aw.
And then in other news, Ari Kari, she was the face of Carter's this week. So like
Oh.
for 2 days, like all the emails that went out were photos of her and myself, and then she was on the banner as soon as you open the webpage up. She's still on the specials listing and she's still in a video. But I was just so
Aw.
excited getting. I got like 3 emails a day, and I was just like, oh, there's Ari. Oh my God, there's Ari.
Yeah.
I was so excited. Um, and then my last rose, because I got one for each baby this week.
Yeah.
Convenient.
Mhm.
But MJ, he made a just heartfelt
Yes.
YouTube video. Did you see it?
I saw. I
What?
saw
Okay, so
it.
I got it and I was putting my groceries away, which takes me like an hour and a half. Don't ask why. Um, but I was like, okay, let me stop and let me watch this. And I watched it. I was just like, oh my goodness, like he is so sweet. But
Yes.
that's my baby. So he made a message to the women in his life, and it
Yeah.
was adorable.
Mhm.
Um, Thorns.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, this is hard. Because I don't know, it's hard to talk about because I don't want to overshare. I'm not trying to air all my
Right.
business,
Right.
but if I could put it simply, the thorn this week was relationships.
Mm.
Um, and
Mhm.
outside relationships, like nothing in my home, but just like, I don't know, it feels like in the universe, the energy was just
Mhm.
off, or
Yeah.
it's just me seeing people in a different light, and that's big for me because,
Yeah.
baby, like your season may be ending,
Yeah.
and I don't, I can't say that I saw that, um,
Mm.
but yeah, I'm not gonna sit around and learn too many lessons. I got it. I
Right.
understand. So I'll just say that, and that happened
Yeah.
in a few areas of life, and so I'm just kind
Mhm.
of. It was a heavy week for that
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah. Okay. Big feelings all around.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a good way. That made it pretty succinct. That's good. I do
Yeah.
think we are in a era, like we're moving into an age of I was talking to my clients, all my clients are having the same thing. Big
Mm.
shifts in personal relationships.
Yeah.
And I think we're moving into an age of awakening, and in that, everybody cannot ascend with you. If you are meant to ascend, if you are meant to
Mm,
get closer to God, if you are meant to get closer to your higher self, if you are meant to walk in your purpose, people are going to start falling off. And some of them are family, some of them are close friends, some of them are the relationships that you didn't know you needed to shed. You're
mm.
going to start itching, and it's going to be
I
time to
received that.
exfoliate.
I
Yeah.
receive it because I'm feeling it, and it's been tough.
Yeah.
And I love this topic today because half of it was centered around the children. And
Mm.
I don't when I think of rage, I think of a lot of things, but don't play with my babies.
Yeah.
Don't like
Yeah.
I've come a long way and I've grown, but honey,
Yeah.
do you want to see the rest of the, crayons in my box? Because I can show
Right.
you, it's we
Oh,
can have a
yeah.
good time.
I can reintroduce you to my former
hmm
crash out
I
self.
Yeah, I can go get her. Those
Yeah.
skeletons in the closet, I just pull them out,
Yeah.
a little decor. We can bring
Yeah.
them to the party. We'll have a good
Yeah.
old time.
You rattle
But
some bones.
yeah, but just don't play with my babies.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So,
but what's going on over there?
yeah, I had a pretty hectic, heavy week.
Mm.
Okay, let me start with the roses. The roses. I'm really trying to think. Well, okay, so we're getting ready for Robert's birthday on the 11th.
Woo!
And so, yeah, we're really excited. And we're just going to do, so this is like a rose and thorn, because I can't think, because I'm like literally trying to fight back the feeling of mom guilt that we're not having a party this year, but we're doing many different things. Like, I just wanted to do
Mhm.
fun things every week for him versus a party, because I just couldn't get my mind wrapped around that. I couldn't do it. I just like do not
Yeah.
have the capacity for that. And I'm like, for the money of a party, I'd rather him have experience, because we don't get to do that much throughout the week. And then it's been winter. And so I'm like, I would prefer for him to, it's finally spring, and like, let's go out the house
Yeah.
and do some things. So I know consciously that that is a rational, smart choice, but my body is really rejecting that and beating me up internally. So that was building all week. And then all these projects I have going on, I'm like, this is beautiful work. I'm walking in my purpose. I am ascending. Boy, I am getting scratched up in the ascension. I didn't know I was going to ascend through the
Through
trees.
fire and yeah,
Right.
and everything
Yes.
else.
Everything else. And it just, I mean, Friday I had a whole full blown panic attack, and like, it was just,
Mm.
it was building. It was building. But the other rose, so that's me bouncing back and forth between my rose and my thorn. Thorn is how I'm feeling. But the other rose is that Rob supported me in the panic attack. My sister supported me. And shout out to, all the women in the world, but to the big sisters, to the eldest, to the sisters who have to be the eldest in their mind, even if they're not the eldest child. Shout out to the ones those are like true superheroes. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I told my sister, I'm like, well, thanks for saving the day again. Cause I can't, like, I'm always going to be the baby. That's just, I can't, I need my sister to save me. And so I'm just reflecting on like how special that is. Like, I have somebody to save me
Yeah.
when I need to be saved. And it's usually going to be my sister. So shout out to her. And like I said, I think it happens to all the big sisters in the world. So shout out to all of y'all, you included. People who just have the capacity to save the world, save the struggle bus people like
Mhm.
me. I appreciate it. So that just makes me feel good to know that that's happening in the world amongst all of the thorns. Another person could be your rose, so that's special.
Mm.
So she's on the ascension list. It's people that ain't. Some people that ain't. But the panic, the panic came because I couldn't express the rage that I was feeling. The
Yeah.
rage that was cooking up, mixed up with some anxiety. I'm glad it came out in the form of panic, and not like a panic attack, and not me blowing up on
Mhm.
everybody. But I was not my best self this week. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else caught it because Rob was like, "Wait, what happened? We're getting ready to take the kids to Enchanted Castle for Robert's like kickoff birthday thing," and it just everything bubbled over, and so I'm here, I'm here, y'all, struggling, but I'm here.
I'm here with you. I'm here. And I just, the mom guilt is real.
Yeah, yeah.
But so is the rage. It's
Mhm,
very real. And
mhm.
that's why today's conversation needs to happen. Like
Yes,
it's time,
absolutely,
especially in this day and age. Like we're,
for sure.
just whatever this is.
Yes. Yes. Right. Oh, I also forgot. I did hang out with my college roommates, and that was a great time. Nice little dinner. But that made me think about that too cuz one of my other friends has some couple kids, and we were talking about that too. And I was like, I'm glad this is a safe space to really talk about how like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Sometimes motherhood comes with the why, and the why is backed by rage, right?
Yeah.
So, let's get into it. Motherhood and rage. Man, and I don't know why we don't talk about it so much, but we all experience it. And I think we've all experienced our mother's rage. And the sad thing is that we've internalized it. And we now are the generation feeling rage because we want our kids to have better than what we had. Like we're so aware of
Yeah.
it that now we're raging inside at ourselves. Like a lot of my rage is towards self, and then it goes to others at the same time. Like, why are you not filling in these gaps? Because my kids need to have a good life. And I'm getting pissed off at everybody around me and myself.
Yeah. And that's so true because I mean, we do it. Like you said, it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
It's just where we came from. And it saddens me because sometimes I try to forecast like how that's going to manifest in my kids' lives.
Yeah.
Um, but I think part of the reason is just that it's so taboo because
Mm,
mothers, like, we we have this persona that we're
yeah.
meant to portray, and to be patient and to be nurturing and endlessly loving.
Right.
And none of that shows, what a lot of people consider to be the ugly side,
Right.
which is rage. It's just a natural emotion.
It is. Right. 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 If we can feel all those other things, we certainly can feel the other stuff too, right? And then there's that expectation that we should be grateful all the time too. And I think I feel I kind of feel that a lot when it's like I know there are so many women in the world that want children. And so I
Hmm.
do struggle with that. Like, I should be grateful that mine are healthy, that mine are smart, that mine are this or that. But, sometimes, hey, I'm not feeling grateful for the emotions that are coming along with this. But while gratitude is beautiful, I guess we could work towards it not canceling out the frustration that comes with constantly meeting everyone's needs while feeling like your own don't matter. And that's a big crux for me. And that was part of my panic attack. I was like, no, people are not listening to me, and
Yeah.
I need to be seen. I don't want to have to explain why this is hard, but everyone wants what they want for Robert, and it's getting to me. and
Yeah.
and so that was that. Like, I should be grateful that people are so excited for his birthday, but I'm like, I don't feel grateful because they're not seeing me as the mother having to facilitate all of this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been there. I've been doing birthday
Yeah.
parties for some years now. So
Yeah.
I all of this, and I think, Chase just figured it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a birthday party sometime. I
Yeah.
think at this point it's been like every other year,
Yeah.
which has worked, and we'll still do something special around that time. But like I
Mhm.
can't do it every year for three
No.
kids. I
No.
just can't.
Impossible.
Um, And, so if I can jump into it, like
Yeah.
what you said really resonated with me because you said, you're not feeling seen. Rage
Mhm.
isn't always about the kids. It's
Mm.
not. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I am a mother, but like I am Danielle. I
Mhm.
have children that might be part of it, but
Right.
there's still a lot. that, isn't recognized. It's the invisible labor, the
Yeah.
lack of time to ourselves, the overstimulation.
Yes.
Oh God, like I told you, don't breathe too loud, don't sit too close,
Right.
don't touch me.
Please don't
I don't
touch
want
me
you playing on the floor like bumping my feet. Don't do
at
it.
all.
You know,
Please.
it's a lot, but it's just the mental load of doing everything, remembering everything,
Yeah.
um,
Holding
just dealing with
everything.
it. Yeah, holding
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And then you're right, like it's hard to express that. Just like you said, like, please don't touch me. This is a funny moment, but so I got a story that resonates to the being touched out.
Hmm.
So I was coming in the bedroom to love on Rob, and before I could even get there, and I was just coming to mess with him. Like loving on him really is me like messing with him. Um, but here come Robert right behind me, and he's like, he just mommy, tapping me. Hey, hey, now I don't want daddy to touch me because you didn't touched me too much. And it like I can't describe the ball of rage being touched out brings out. But that happens at the end of the night, right? Once you've facilitated from the point you wake up to the end of the day, like I don't care what you want to show me. Please stop touching me. I hear you and you don't care and you're still touching me. I told Rob, I said,
Yes.
all right, I'm sorry. I'm going in the bathroom. I came in here to love on you. Can't happen anymore. Going in the bathroom. I don't need anybody to touch me anymore tonight.
Mhm.
So
And then you get in there and you feel bad. Like, oh,
yes,
why do I feel this way? I
yes,
love my kids. And it's
yes.
just like, but I need to breathe.
I need to breathe. Now I have to come in and I give you a million kisses and all of this because I feel bad. But like, stop touching me though. So that I'm harping on that because that really does something about being overstimulated.
Hmm.
That is a direct ignition to rage. It builds up. And we'll tell y'all a little bit later about how to like move through that feeling on our takeaways. But so stay tuned for the takeaways. Hold on, we getting there, but man, we right here like experiencing the buildup, and that's exactly what it is. When we feel like we can't express those feelings, they just build up until they potentially explode.
Hmm. So let's unpack it. I
Yeah.
mean, you tell me, when was the first time you experienced or you really felt rage in motherhood?
Yeah. Um I got a I don't know. I got a weird story that received some like interesting feedback when I told it. And I just thought I was telling something. I was like, oh, maybe I'll never tell anybody this ever again. Uh, I'm like, oh, I feel weird now. But I will share because I think someone else needs to hear it. It was really important because I didn't understand what it was when I was experiencing. Sydney was a baby. She had a lot of tummy issues. And so she would scream, like piercing screams throughout the night, and Rob worked like in second shift or whatever, so I would just be up waiting for him to like 1 o'clock in the morning to come home. And she would scream, and I would just have to put her in the bassinet, and I would just be like, I would cross my arms and like just try to give myself some grounding. But one
Mhm.
night, I guess I was digging, and I like was squeezing myself so tight, like I have marks, like scars on my arms. Like I didn't
Mm,
realize how much I was tense in that moment, but I just could not take it. Um, and I was like, I know that this is an emotion I can't unleash on a newborn.
mhm,
And so I guess there was some postpartum. I didn't understand postpartum really with Sydney, the way I do with or did with Robert. So with her, that was a moment where I just knew that I couldn't unleash that emotion. But now reflecting, I knew I just had a moment of overwhelm and exhaustion and all of that that just created this rage that I had to pour back into myself. I wasn't gonna unleash it on the baby. But when I looked at my arm, I was like, oh my God, I done dug my nails so deep into my arm that now I had like little scratches or whatever. But that is a and the first time I told somebody that, they were like, whoa. I'm like, that's not, oh, don't people don't experience that. That's not like a normal response. Like, okay,
No,
maybe.
because the only time we hear about rage in motherhood is when mothers have gone too far, when they've
Mhm.
hurt the children, when they've taken their
Mhm.
lives. That's when we
Mhm.
talk about it,
Mhm.
and that's the only time anybody cares. So, yeah, when you say something
Yeah.
like, I hurt myself so that I didn't hurt anybody else,
Yeah.
yeah, that people are like, but why
Whoa.
are you hurting yourself? Like, you're okay, you're
Yeah.
missing the bigger point
Right.
here,
Right.
like,
Right. The
it's,
emotion was so huge and
mhm,
my bandwidth was so limited that I couldn't
yeah,
do that. But that like to really have a felt sense and understand what rage because of that moment, I know what it
mhm,
feels like. And now it becomes a panic attack, which I guess I could be grateful for that.
yeah,
I'm not out here hurting my kids, but I am gonna need a
mhm,
minute. Um, but that feeling, I get it often, and I know exactly what it is because of that. 10 years ago, when she was a little
yeah.
bitty baby and couldn't do nothing but scream. I couldn't do nothing but hold it in.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, but how many times, right? I'm guilty of this. And I shouldn't even say I'm guilty, but like I do this. I
Yeah.
actively do this. Scream into the pillow, scream in the car.
Yes.
I sometimes I just
Yes.
scream silently.
Yes.
Hold on to things too tight, like the countertop, a purse,
Mhm.
your arm, like
Right.
anything, but just trying to channel some of that energy that like you have to get out, and there's nowhere to
Yes.
physically put it.
Yes.
um it happens more often than I think I would like to admit. So
Mhm.
I can only imagine, if we really started talking about it, how much we would see this, in other
Yeah.
women, other mothers that we talk to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. How about you?
mm,
You got some moments you can reflect on when you really maybe first felt that rage in motherhood?
so okay, this my mother likes to remind me that my memory is trash
Mm.
because I don't remember much. Like in my head, Marquise was a breeze. Like I don't,
Mhm.
I can't recall a moment of rage
Mhm.
with him.
Mhm.
And with Chase, he was just on such a good schedule
Mm.
that I didn't even feel it then. And I
Mhm.
think the first time I really experienced like true rage
Mhm.
was with Ari. And,
Mm.
I say that because I've always felt like we've talked about this before, like the depression, the anxiety,
Yeah.
it was out of my control. I had self-managed for so many years.
Mm.
And because of that, I feel like what I might classify as rage now just always felt like frustration.
Mm.
And so I
Yeah.
got like a real glimpse with Ari. And I think it kind of comes in conjunction with having multiple children and just having such that
Yeah.
age gap.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't pinpoint it to a moment. So I'm not going to try to do that. But she was a yelling baby. She has a very high pitched scream. And,
Mhm.
I had a beautiful maternity leave, but going from like being with her all day, and then I
Mhm.
have to pick Chase up and I've got to give him attention. But I'm still
Yeah.
breastfeeding, so I still have her. And he likes to be in the personal space.
Mhm.
I told you that's how he asks, like, can I sit in your personal space? And I'm like, okay, you're missing, like, no, that's not the
Right.
question. Just scoot over.
Right.
Um, but now it's just like, okay, like I've been stimulated all day by this baby screaming, and now I got you, and you want to sit on top of
Mhm.
me, and now I'm feeling a little overstimulated.
Mhm.
And then we kind of just pile on, like, Marquise might finish up vending or, pop-up shop of speech, whatever he's doing, and he'll come to the house, and it's like, okay, I got the baby down, I got Chase down, and now he wants to talk. And I love it. Right, I love talking to him, but
Yeah.
it's like he doesn't get tired, and I kind of miss that youth,
Yeah.
because I know that feeling, but I think it's that. And in my
Mm.
head, when so many things happen at once like that, in my head, I'm fuming and I feel
Mm.
awful because I don't know if my children can tell that I'm not fully present in the moment.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
not sure if they can see the frustration on my face because, my face really does speak for itself.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a lot. And, Trey knows when it's happening because like we'll be downstairs and I'll be like, all right, it's time for bed. I'm going upstairs. And I just
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot
Yeah.
do this anymore. Like the
Yeah.
TV's too loud. Why is the light bulb flickering? The baby won't
Yes.
sit down. The dogs are and it's just like, nope. And once I feel that, I
Yeah.
know that it's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Exit
So
stage left.
it, I have to before
Yes.
I start like barking out just, these emotions that I don't
Yeah.
want to project onto them. And I don't even feel like it's their fault.
Right.
I just think it's a result of dealing with it, you know, year after year after year and kind of letting it
Mhm.
compile and not recognizing it. I
Mm.
didn't accept it for what it was.
Mm.
And so now that I can really see it and feel it, it's like I don't want it. You know what I mean? And because I
Yeah.
don't want it and because I'm rejecting it, it feels that much worse because it's like, wait, why can't I like get rid of you? You know?
Right.
So,
Right.
mm, yeah,
Yeah, I like how you said that though, right? That it comes from the mislabeling. Um and then awareness almost brings its own challenge because
yeah,
now I know what it is and like you said reject this and that invites more emotion. It's like I got to work through all of this that came from my environment and this external stimulation and then the internal of like self, the language,
hmm,
the shame and guilt that want to come and tell you you shouldn't be feeling this. Like
yep,
you're supposed to do this and you're a mom and how long have you been a mom and like why don't you have it together? Like, but we each moment we experience every day, we literally have not ever experienced. And it's hard to know and understand that in a moment. And like all you can do is I got to get out of here. I'm the
hmm,
same way. Before I start talking wow and saying crazy stuff that I know in my right mind I don't need to be saying to my kids.
hmm,
But if just the emotion takes over, I'm liable to say anything. And I don't want to be someone's memory of like my mom was low key harsh or verbally abusive or whatever. I'm never
right,
gonna put
right,
my hands on them. I have no inclination to do that. The older
hmm,
they get, though, the crazier these emotions want to come out. And like you said, it's multiple. It's that multiple thing. Is
It's it's the multiple. So like,
yes.
okay, we were talking about this, you and I, we talked about it a little bit, but
Hmm.
the broken glass.
Yeah.
It's like I tried.
Hmm.
I'm in a space where I'm
Hmm.
like, you don't have to do it alone. Ask
Right.
for help.
Right.
So I've been having Chase, help me unload the dishwasher. Let's put dishes away. And I don't know what I was doing in that moment. I think I was starting to prepare dinner. Um, and so, but I've always told him if you can't reach it, just don't do it. And he's
Hmm.
like, okay. And he was like, well, where does this go? And I was like, just set it on the counter, I'll get it. And then he grabs a dish that he knows he can't reach. And I was like, just put it down, I'll get it.
Hmm.
And in trying to set the second dish down, he knocks over the glass and it shatters. And now I've got a bigger mess. And it's just like,
Hmm.
one, I can't ask for help without making more work for myself.
Right.
But two, I wanted to scream because it was a newer item. I
Mm.
got it for Christmas and I've only used it once.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so that was that. I wanted to scream and I didn't. I grabbed the counter, literally grabbed the
Mm.
counter, and then I let go with one hand and I just put my head in it. And so now I'm like
Mm.
looking down and I'm like massaging my temple because I don't want to yell,
Mhm.
but I'm losing it. Like the
Mhm.
baby's walking around barefoot, the
Oh,
glass shattered. Now
yeah.
the dogs want to come see what it was. And I'm like, you're
Yeah.
gonna have glass in your paws, and
Right.
it's just so much. But I thought that was the best I could do in the moment, the way
Mhm.
I handled it. and Chase went upstairs to his room, because I told him to go put some shoes on. I'm like, you got to put shoes on now. Like, you don't, I don't want you walking around down here
Yeah.
barefoot. And he came back down and he just felt so bad. He
Mm.
was like, I'm the worst son. I
Mm.
messed everything up. I don't feel like
Oh.
I belong. And I'm like, no, 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 please don't be hard on yourself. He's like,
Right.
but I feel like you're mad at me. And I was like, baby, I'm not mad at you.
Right.
I am frustrated that the glass broke,
Right.
that I now have to clean up glass, but I still have to clean dishes. I mean, I
Right.
still have to cook dinner and then clean the kitchen. Like, yes, there's a lot like that just kind of added to what I had to do, but I'm not mad at you. Like,
Right.
as a little girl, I spilled something at every meal, you know? My
Mhm.
parents were patient with me when it came
Mm.
to that.
Mhm.
And the only reason I got quiet was because I didn't want to blow up, you know? But
Right.
that's not, it wasn't you. It has been a long day. It was a long day at work, you know? But I just feel like that just happened last week. And
Mhm.
it's, yeah, like I'm gonna hit myself enough with the mom guilt. But when I
Right.
saw it in him, I
Right.
was just like, oh goodness, okay. So now I know like I need to talk about it, but I can do a better job of removing myself so that it doesn't happen in front of him. Because I don't want him to
Mm.
feel, like he's the problem. Because
Mm.
it's not that. It's not that.
Mhm.
One day you're going to be overstimulated and overwhelmed too,
Right. You'll
and you're going
know.
to deal with this. You don't feel it now, but I don't want you to think I love you less because you broke this glass. Who cares? I
Right.
will get another one. Um,
Right.
but am I tired? Yes.
Yeah. But you know what though? As much as it pains us to witness their interpretation of our emotion, it also lends to good conversation. Like he
Yeah.
can now he's going to understand because you expressed in a corrective way. Like, wait a minute, no, it's not about you. Now, if you would have left him hanging, that would be different. But he sometimes I think we need to, and that's a part of our issue in our generation as well, is like we don't want them to see the types of blowups and things that maybe that we may have seen, or
Mm-hmm.
our expression, because we don't want them to internalize it. But then they don't get the learning from that, like they don't get the education of emotional expression from that. And so I actually think that was the best way to have that conversation, was for him to come down and say what he said. First of all, that's a sign of safety, that he can come to you and say like, "Oh, I feel this way."
Yeah.
And then you go, but it's not about you. It's that is just me feeling X, Y, or Z. And this is how we move going forward. So now he's learned something. And you've learned something too, right? So I would
Mm-hmm.
still professionally, I would encourage you, like, let the moments be the moments. You don't have to hide it from him. And personally understanding that, like, that's the same. I mean, I'm just like, hey, I'm about to go there. That's usually what I say. Like, I'm about to go there. And it's not about anybody. Sydney, no, I'm like, we have plenty of conversations where I'm like, Sydney, I'm about to go there. I'm about to, it's coming. I feel it. Like I said, that rage was so imprinted on me when she was a baby that now I know when it's coming. And that don't always mean I get it out right. But at least I can
Mm-hmm.
say I have a statement that I make to everybody know. And I don't want them to be like the type of people that scatter when someone has big emotions. But my point, and when I communicate with them, is to say I'm bringing my emotions down. They're present and they're big, and they got, I'm trying to bring them down. So I need you to go do a task, you to go do a task, I'm going to do a task, and we're going to come back together. Whatever your corrective experience needs to look like, let it be
Yeah.
that, and let them know what that looks like. Like, he needs to see you emoting that way so he can understand
Mm.
what to do with his emotions.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want kids to go hitting each other at school, but if they've never seen anything to do other than what they see on their video games or TV, so we need to give them the real world of, like, this is actually what you got to do with your emotions. You got to feel them, push through them, think it through for a second, and then move forward. So I actually think that was a really good moment. It is always heartbreaking when they go, I messed up something, but
Mm-hmm.
the conversations that come from that are so sweet. And honestly, don't they feel like a little diffusing? Like, the rage goes away the minute you see your child internalize that. It's like it's gone. You instantly
Yeah.
like, I love you so much. That's not it. Let me come back to let me come back to
Mm-hmm.
my authentic and true self, and give
Yeah.
you a little bit of coaching. So it's hard to witness but then on the other side, they learn so much from it as well.
Yeah. I agree, and I think we may have just moved into our next piece of the conversation,
Yeah, I think
but
so.
how we move through it. So, I heard
Yeah.
you talk about what you do with your family. You guys kind
Yeah.
of disperse and come back together.
Mhm.
Um, is there anything else you do?
Yeah. So, to me it's always going to be expression and communication. So I'm saying like it's okay to feel how you're feeling, or I'll tell Robert like you said, like go scream into a pillow, go do something. So
Mhm.
so my strategy is express and do. And maybe the doing is stepping away. Maybe the doing is going in. If Sydney's bubbling over, I tell her go in the bathroom and wash her face. It's something that allows you to feel what you're feeling, but also resets your nervous system. So those are sometimes the things that we do. Or like if I notice Rob is, his rage is coming out with the overstimulation of the world, I will go, okay, let me just handle it. Let me take care of it. So we try to tag team. So I guess
Mm.
most of my strategies are going to be acknowledgement, communication, and then change of course. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be like, okay, thank you, you can go play. Or like, you go do something else, I'll go do something else. Maybe we're stop the doing can also be stopping what you're doing, and
Mhm.
taking a pause and taking a break. So those are the some of the things that I encourage clients to do, and the things that I practice at home. What about you?
Yeah. I feel like we do the same thing. Like communication is everything in our house, and I always want
Mhm.
everybody to feel like they can talk about anything.
Yeah.
So I encourage it, but I think acknowledging, just that, and
Mhm.
I say it.
Mhm.
Um, and I've kind of seen the growth in Chase, of course, because
Yeah.
sometimes he's just like, I'm sad. Why? Because I'm sad, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like we have to dig into this, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, how do we prevent you from being sad again? Um, but
Yeah.
for me and for Trey, it's an acknowledgement. And then if there's something we can do to help,
Mhm.
doing that. But oftentimes I find, and this is just strictly to like motherhood and rage, where I'm just like, hey, I need a minute. I'll be
Yeah.
back. And I go run an errand. Or I
Yeah.
just go upstairs and close the doors. And
Mhm.
I've got to close 3 doors if I want to like use the bathroom alone. But I also
Yeah.
have to announce that.
You're
I'm like,
right.
hey, I need a minute. I'm gonna go use the master bath, and then I close the bedroom door, and I close the bathroom door, and then I close the toilet room door.
Yeah.
And, I've got these barricades so that I can actually just like have a minute to breathe. And sometimes I turn
Yes.
the fan on because sometimes I want to cry, and
Yes.
it's just like
Yes. Yeah.
that's what it is. But, I sometimes I have my own solutions where I'm like, I know if I can just step away, I'll be okay.
Mhm.
And other times, I don't. But if and when I acknowledge it, um, Trey has learned me enough to know the
Mm.
cues to be like, it's okay. Like I
Mhm.
got this.
Mhm.
We're good. You're good. Everything's good. Take a minute,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and go from there. But yeah, we definitely feel in this house.
Mhm.
Um, we do. I
Yeah.
do. Real
Right.
big.
Right. Heavy on the getting somewhere so that you can cry in
No.
private, because I don't need you looking at me, because that's overstimulating me also. Like I
Hmm.
don't need anybody's human experience involved in when I need to cry. So
Yeah.
heavy on that, like just removing yourself sometimes, and then just being able to come back. Rage
Hmm.
is something that like it's big, and then you can get it back small, and you can come back from it. And really any emotion, but we're leaning in on rage today. So it's like it's important to have that community, and if you're a single parent or something, maybe it's leaning in on someone that you have in your life. Like those
Hmm.
moments are indicative of, and you might have to, it might be a couple days before you can lean on a community if you're single, right? You might have to say, hey, can you know watch my kid, grandma, can you come get him? Can you pick him up from school? Can you pick her up? Can you take her here or there? So it might have to be a little scheduled out or a little bit more structured, but you can do that. I think we don't know how to relate to our emotions in that way of like, man, I might not be able to feel this way. So it's not compartmentalizing to the point where you don't feel it anymore or that you ignore
Mhm.
it. But the key is I've got to shelf this for a moment and then and come back to it. Do it when it's safe
Mhm.
to emote, right? We're scared that if I let this out, it'll never go back in and I'm just going to blow up my world. No, some of us can do that. We got partners in the house where we can go, hey, I need to step away. Others of us may have to know that in 3 days, I'm going to have the biggest cry of the week because my kid will be gone and I can do that. Or I'm going to go to my car or I'm going to wait till they're asleep and I'm going to do what I
Mhm.
need to do. So really, it's okay to shelf rage. It's okay to feel it, know it's there. And if you can't, if there's no one else to communicate with, communicating with yourself that like you're going to come out of my body. I'm just gonna have to
Yeah.
do it at a time that makes the most sense for me, or like getting hopping in the shower, telling your kid like, okay, we're stopping all this. Mommy gotta go take a shower. And I love to tell people to cry in the shower because it's a
Oh,
cleansing, right? Like
it's
the
the best
water,
cry ever.
yeah, the water's clean, cleansing you. You don't have to worry about the tears. You just wash your face and be done with the moment and start new. It's like a refresh of the day.
Yeah.
So, if you can do those things, then I think you'll be golden. And like I just don't want anyone to feel like we're talking about partnership, but like there's partnership with self too. And there's
Yeah.
partnership if you're a single parent. Sometimes there's a degree of partnership you have to have with your child and the understanding of what's happening in the house. We have to be
Mhm.
teammates in exploring our emotions. So I might have to tell you, this is what I'm doing, child, and I'll come back. And we all have to do that, whatever that looks like in our house. So there's community efforts, friend groups or whatever, but wherever
Yeah.
you
And
feel safe and comfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And I think, what really worked for me as well to get to a place where I could acknowledge and communicate was
Yeah.
therapy. Like
Yeah. Yep.
just a therapist, someplace to go and talk, to have a space without judgment.
Yeah.
And it helped me just to learn really myself, to recognize my triggers. Like you said, like when it's coming and you can give them a
Yeah.
heads up,
Yeah.
and I can do the same thing. And now sometimes it do comes a little faster than I would like. I'd be like, well, shoot, I thought I had a little more time.
Right.
But other times there's that moment where it's like I can try to bring this down before it gets there.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I can like change the course of this, like you said, and get on a better path before it
Yeah.
doesn't have to go there.
Yeah.
Um, but that was work. That was self-work that
Mhm.
I had to be willing to do. And that anybody can do. There's so
Absolutely.
many resources, but yeah.
Yeah, therapy's a big one. That's really good, and I think that's where you learn how to be in relationship with your feelings.
Hmm.
So rage isn't a failure; it's a signal. It's like all the feelings we don't want to feel, they're typically a signal.
Hmm.
And so we can, instead of stuffing it down, we're just listening to it. What we're sharing here is about listening to your body, and you have to listen enough to then even instruct your partner or your children or whoever around you, that you're navigating this feeling in this moment. So it's just something to listen to. It's not a pass or a fail. You're human, and so you're going to emote in a human fashion. So let the
Yeah.
signal be a sign. Let it be a warning sign that okay, I'm going to have to do something different. I need something more.
Absolutely. And I think, if we can just start having more conversations, right?
Yeah.
Like we've already said it, but we have to. That's the only way, is to get it out, to really
Yeah.
work through it so that you
Right.
can, kind of get the full lesson.
Yeah.
Because once you know, it gets easier.
Yeah.
But if we just shelf it and we never go back to it,
Right.
um, it's going to get bigger, it's going to get heavier, it's going to get
Mhm.
harder.
Mhm.
And I think that's individually, if we're talking about partnerships, you know talk to your partner for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think there's so many of us, especially women, um, who maybe there's like a fear. I know I had it for a little
Mm,
bit, just of speaking up. But if you're carrying the bulk of like the mental load, the emotional labor, and everything else that's going on, like we're going to feel it.
yeah.
And that rage can turn into resentment, you know, very quickly. So not only are you now upset and you're angry and you're feeling all these big feelings, but like now you've like changed the image of your partner in your mind, which is, like
Mm,
it's just kind of like a domino
mhm.
effect, I think. Um, and so we have to talk about it and we have to
Yeah.
control it before it kind of controls us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so as we talk about having the conversation, with our partners and with those in our community, our support system and around us,
Yeah.
um, I'm just glad we had it today. This conversation was so needed because anger in motherhood is real, but
Mhm.
it doesn't make us bad moms, you
Right,
know?
right. And it's so important to be, like you said, having the conversation today to be able to share in that feeling and know you're not alone in it, right? And if
Mhm.
nothing else, it makes me feel more human. I hope that that's what our listeners are getting. But the more we acknowledge our humanity and the fact that we are meant to emote, we're literally built and wired this way, the better we can manage it. And just knowing that other people are feeling this thing too, I think is really helpful.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I came into this ready to
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah.
And I feel better. So,
Yeah, same.
a lot better. I feel like I can go out of this room like we're gonna prep lunches for next
Yeah.
week. We're gonna like do all this stuff, and I feel
Yeah.
good about it. So, to our listeners, like if you've ever felt that burning rage, that overwhelming frustration, just know you're not alone, like,
Mhm.
and you're not a bad mom for feeling it. Feel it, please. That's
Yes.
the least we can do for ourselves as mothers.
Yes.
We're so selfless in so many areas. Let's acknowledge the bad feelings that we have
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
I like that, right? Just feel it. It's not,
yeah.
nothing to it but to feel it. At least give it give yourself a little space to feel it, right? And if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with another mama or another person in your life who might need to hear it. I think this is how we come together. This is how we create the community that we want so badly to get back to. Like,
Mhm.
this is so far reaching. We can just commune in the idea of emotion is safe and okay, and there's no judgment here.
Yeah. And we're going to tell y'all this every week until we get to where we're going. But let's keep this conversation going.
Mhm.
DM us on Instagram at For the Mamas Collective and tell us, how do you process frustration in motherhood?
Mhm.
This community is a safe space for all women, and
Yeah.
just share with us. Let's start having the conversation, because it's not just moms in Atlanta or moms in Chicago or
Yeah.
women in those respective cities who feel away. Like, this is global. We all do. And the
Mhm.
internet is such a great way to connect,
Mhm.
that let's use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all better have stayed on. Don't turn it off yet. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Because y'all thought we was gonna skip them takeaways, but we didn't. We trying to make y'all listen to the whole thing. So before
So
we
get your pen
go,
and paper.
get that pen, get that paper. There's no confusion. You got through the emotion of the episode. Now it's time to take some notes. So we got some things we want you to try this week. So when you feel that frustration bubbling up, you feel that emotional ball coming, take a pause and do one of these three things. One, step away, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Take a deep breath. Two, try a grounding exercise. Name five things you see, four things you can touch, three things you can hear. If possible, ask for help. That's number three. Tell your partner, friend, or support system, I need a minute. You don't have to do it all alone.
Yes, I love those. So I would just say, give yourself permission to step back, to reset,
Mhm.
take care of yourself. Because when we take care of ourselves, we show up better for our children.
Absolutely. Make sure that cup is full and overflowing as best you can. It's a good way to start. So we'd love to hear how this works for you, and please let us know. Let us know how this speaks to you, and what else you might want from the mamas, me and Danielle. We're here. If you want more coping skills, you're gonna have to put the comment in the, I don't know, Instagram and whoever else. Oh, wait a minute, I almost forgot. Do all the social media things, and start with commenting. If you want some more coping strategies, we're more than willing to share. Or if you want to DM us some of your stories, we kind of like that too. Maybe we could do that. If someone's brave enough, share your story. I shared a story that I probably wasn't going to tell anybody else, but this is a safe space to do it, so I went on ahead and did it. So
Yeah, share it and tag us.
yeah,
Absolutely. That would be amazing. And I think, today, just in this conversation, the amount of vulnerability that
yeah,
we brought to the table,
yeah.
um, I think it is just living proof of our motto, right? Like, come as you
Mm-hmm.
are, take what you need.
Yes.
I woke up and that was one of the first things I said this morning. I was like, I am not a perfect person. I am
Mm.
so far from it. I've never pretended to be,
Mhm.
but it's just showing up and being my authentic self. And I hope that all of you who are listening were able to come as you are. And I pray that you had something that you needed that we gave you
Yes.
to take away. I
For
do.
sure. Yes. So thanks for being here with us. We'll see y'all next time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.